So with Paul Foley, who was Maidstone United's captain when we won the double in 2001, 2002. And Paul, you've got quite a long family connection. I'm going back to when your brother first played back in the early 80s.
Yeah, I played in the old, I think it was Goal, was it? Goal Reliance, or whatever it's called, for Bill Williams, then with the likes of Mark Milson and Andy Wone.
Yeah.
And John Dalby, that sort of team, Steve Hamburger. So yeah, I used to watch the games then. It was always a big club. That was the old London Road ground. But yeah, so knew the club very well, and then coincidentally ended up playing and captaining it.
Yeah, it's a gap of like 20 years, isn't it, almost, from when you were watching and then when you started playing.
Yes, yeah, he's quite a bit older. He must be, I think he's a good 10 years older than me. So if he was 18, I would have been 8 or 9, watching the Stones.
And when you came back, it was the first season where we were back in the Kent League after a long time away. And how did it come around that you ended up joining Maidstone?
We were at Ramsgate with Jim, obviously, myself, Steve Coatham, and a few others. And Jim brought us to Maidstone. We knew it was a big club. We knew they'd come up from the sort of county league. And I think there was a bit of resistance to the new guys coming in.
Yeah.
Because Matt Toms had a lot of the players before then, and there was a churn. So we used to get booed when our names were read out. But after a while, once we started to turn it around, I think the fans saw that we were good for the club.
The first game in the Kent League was at Tunbridge Wells, and that was a fairly important game in the club's history. What was it like as a player? Because some of the players weren't expecting that sort of atmosphere, were they?
No, not at all. We had a few friendlies, and we knew there was a few fans coming, and we ran out, and it was, you're just not used to that in the Kent League. It was a roar, really, and a few players are themselves, but am I allowed to say that? But yeah, no, it sort of took us back, really. There was a big roar, so you realise, this is a proper club we're playing for.
And early in the season, there was quite a high turnover of players, wasn't there? Early in the season, Steve Butler came in. And what was the player's nickname for Steve Butler in the dressing room?
But, well, you just say, if he was chocolate, he'd eat himself. He was that sort of fella, but he was very good. You couldn't really dig him out. He'd do the demos, he'd do the training, the sessions were really good, and he'd do a sky cam, so he'd say, right, we're all going to focus on this group.
Yeah.
And he'd judge you, and he'd do the demo, and it would be pitch perfect. And he was a very, very good player, just technically very good, even at the age of 84.
But I mean, for most of that season, it didn't look like Maidstone would win the league, did it? Because VCD was so far ahead, and then even there was a game when Maidstone beat VCD 1-0, and did Martin Ford say anything to Jim Ward after that?
Foley said, as we walked off, that was on the main pitch at Bourne Park. We've won the league anyway. So Jim, being Jim, just started laughing, said, don't say that. So, and then it came over the roost. I know Foley well, but he just can't help himself.
So, but at that stage, I mean, did you seriously think, like they were so far ahead, did you seriously think they were going to blow it?
You just get that feeling. I think towards the end of the season, we didn't think we were going to lose a game, we were going to win all our games, and they were struggling. And once I've been in the opposite position, once you're in front and you can't get a win, it's not nice.
So were you at the game at Craig when they were seconds away from winning?
I didn't go, no. I was on the phone to Jim, and he kept ringing up and saying they've just scored. I couldn't believe it. They were going mad.
Is it true that you, how can I put it, when you celebrated the title, you were kind of rubbing the VCD players' noses a bit slightly?
I might have done a bit, You always get a bit of that going on. I knew a few of the players, and I got the same when Cray won it, when they nicked it off us. So I got a programme through my letterbox with a name on it. So goes around, comes around. Yeah,
I was going to say, just to go back to the season when we won it, first of all, because that's obviously happened.
Yeah.
The final game was a deal, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And it was simple. We needed to win it, and we would win the title.
Yeah.
Were you always confident?
I think so, it was quite a tight game, if I remember rightly. For a good half hour, 40 minutes, it was quite tough. And Foley was there, I think, and Terry Barrett, I know very well. And they left, I think, once we scored, and once we... Marshy scored the last one, didn't he, from memory?
Steve Marshall.
Yeah, great day. I mean, there was I think 1,000 people there, and in Kentley running on the pitch. Just Steve Butler said, it doesn't get any better than this at this level, which is right, I think.
So the following season, the cup run was at the start of the year, the road to Wembley, and there were two massive games. First of all, we played Ramsgate, and you got the winner. Right?
Yes, and the replay, at Vaughan Park. Yeah.
Do you remember much of it?
Yeah, it just came back. Typical one of mine, to be honest.
Yeah.
About 5 yards out, just hooked it in.
And then after that, there was the Tunbridge game. Any kind of memories of that one?
I don't really remember that one. I just try to block out Tunbridge games. Never liked going there. So, don't remember much about that. I remember the Isle of Wight game.
It was quite a good one to remember because we beat them 3-2. But,
I don't remember loads about that. So I remember that Isle of Wight and Marsh scored the hat-trick in about 5 minutes.
And then after that, Butler left, and it all kind of, we sort of struggled a bit after that.
It did, yeah. He was very good. I mean, Jim will say the same probably on the coaching side, and just that professionalism that he brought was very good. Got to say, much as you'd like to dig out butts because he knew he was good, but he was. You can't knock him, to be honest.
Okay, so as that sort of season went on, it looked like we were going to walk to the title.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of went wrong in the last month, didn't it? So
yeah, I think it was 4 games, wasn't it?
Did you try to block that out as well?
Yeah. No, I can still see the header. Aaron Lacey stood one up, and I'd score it probably 90 times out of 100, and it missed the post by about an inch.
Yeah, and that was the Ramsgate game at the end of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think this was at home to Lordswood. That game. And Kedder scored a goal as well from memory, pulled one out. Just everything went against us, and the Ramsgate game we had so many chances. Dave Fisher had a few. It just wasn't to be, unfortunately.
There was one incident at the game at Erith when it was just sort of passed into folklore. It's like when someone was digging you out on the sideline, and you then scored this brilliant goal about 15 minutes left, and you kind of went over and had a slight exchange of views with him.
Yeah, a bit of blood pumping. Yeah, he dug. I think it was Adam Morris. He gave the ball away. You could hear it because there wasn't many fans there.
Yeah.
And he just said, you're not fit for the shirt. So I saw it, and I managed to pull out a nice volley, which flew into the top corner. So yeah, he got a bit of his own back. And I did try and find him in the bar and that, but he'd gone. He apologised. He did apologise. Fair play. Yeah, and we shook hands.
And after that, I thought the relationship was quite a lot better. Cause
it probably did, yeah. I think people probably realised that I did care quite a bit about the club and winning and all those things, that seemed to matter.
Okay, so now you're not playing anymore, but your dad, Theo Foley, was the Arsenal coach when they won the league back at Anfield in 1989, and you're writing his life story now, is that right?
Yeah, it seemed a good idea at the time. I kept saying to him we should do a book. He said he'd want to read it. But it just seemed, it's 60 years in football, and he's been at so many clubs, been all the way through the leagues as a player. Won the first division with Arsenal, been at Millwall with Charlton. So, yeah, and it's a nice thing to do. It's hard work.
Yeah.
But speaking to all the players, I've spoken to the likes of George and Graham.
When's it due out?
It's meant to be out middle of this year, but I might have to push that back a little bit. But, yeah, there's a bit of work to do, but yeah, it's getting there. I've got loads of info. It's good fun talking to the old pros.
Thanks very much for coming. We wish you all the best with the book.